there, I'm Gretchen.
And I'm Tim.
And we are G&T Sailing, and we want to start this video off just by welcoming all of our new subscribers. We've had a really big uptick in the last few weeks, so welcome. In this video, we are gonna do a little bit of a retrospective or a debrief on our Baja Cruisers Rally experience. Welcome to G&T Sailing. If you're new here, I'm Gretchen, and this is Tim. We've spent the last 2 years refitting Felicita, our Catalina 42, and have finally launched our sailing dream. We don't care where we go, we just care that we go, and we're glad you're coming along for the ride. So I'm a project manager by career. And as part of project management, at the end of a project, it's always a good idea to do a retrospective, which is like a 4-part thing where you talk about what was your favorite thing about the project, what was your least favorite thing about the project, what would you do differently, and what did you do well and therefore want to repeat. So we are going to do a retrospective on our Baja experience. Yep. So the first category for our retrospective is us sharing what our favorite things were. So What were yours?
Yep, I got 2. We met so many people, and some of which have become lifelong friends, and we buddy boated with them, and just awesome people, obviously with similar interests, similar desires, similar goals. You'll meet Rob and Dawn, or already have in some of our videos. Lifelong friends, just can't say enough about how much fun we had with those guys, and then we just kept meeting everywhere but the Baja brought all that together because everybody, 130 some odd boats, we ran into people all throughout the season. Exactly,
It was really fun.
And you just keep running into them. We knew they were a Baja boat. That broke the ice a lot of times when we were meeting up, and that was really good. Yeah. And then the second favorite of mine, having chartered as much as we have in foreign countries, it's a bit of a hassle, and you got to be very organized about checking in and out of countries. Mexico's no different. But being part of the Ha, they had it very well organized. I just had to walk up to the counter, stand online for not even that long, and boom, gave them the paperwork, and then just check, and it was done. Super simple and very easy. So
my favorite things about joining the Baja first of all, our departure from San Diego was an event. We lived in San Diego until the day we left on the Baja. You know, had we just left for our cruising life, and we would have just slipped the ball and been like, later San Diego, and it wouldn't have really been that big of a deal. But it was really cool to join the parade of boats, and there was a mariachi band playing, and it was really emotional and exciting.
It was fun.
I didn't anticipate that, but that was really special.
Even the local news showed up and interviewed us, and it was a big deal in San Diego. It is a big deal every year in San Diego.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I really loved was the fact that the legs on the rally were longer legs. For the rest of the season, we ended up just doing a lot of day sailing and anchorage hopping with a little bit of overnight sailing, but we love to make passages. And so I love sailing at night, just the serenity and peacefulness of that. And the Ha gave us a chance to really
there were a couple of
string some days together.
Yep.
Yeah, so I really liked that.
That was good.
Yeah. So the next question that we're going to answer is, what was our least favorite? So my least favorite things about the Ha, first of all, the arrival in Turtle Bay, there are tons of crab pots or lobster pots all scattered throughout. And we fortunately arrived in the morning right after sunrise, so we were able to see those. But I would have hated coming into Turtle Bay at night.
Which a lot of people did.
Yeah, and there was one boat that did get caught in a pot. So, all right, so then the other thing that was sort of a least favorite for us, I think, was at the Santa Maria stop. There's a really big party on shore, but the dinghy landing is pretty treacherous, and we do not have a hard bottom dinghy. They did not have very many pangas coming around picking people up. So,
as was advertised. There were going to be plenty of pangas. Just hail them on the radio and they'd come get you. That did not work.
Did not happen.
And half of us didn't even get to go.
Yeah, so we missed the party, and that was kind of disappointing because the party at Turtle Bay had been really fun, and we were looking forward to getting off the boat.
And everybody said the party at Santa Maria was
really fun. So that was a bummer.
So least favorite for me, for us, was Cabo in general, because it's loud, and maybe it's the time of year. It's a popular cruise stop. It's loud. The music blank bangs all night long.
Boats all around the anchorage.
I know if it's too loud, you're too old, but I'm too old, and it was too loud. So didn't like that. They didn't seem very welcoming, just in general, at stores, and there's a lot of people hawking things everywhere you walk. Very touristy, I think I would say. And another bad thing was customs people or police were shaking everybody down, trying to get tax money for anything on their boat, and we covered that earlier. Those three things were a bummer for Cabo, for us.
Yeah, so we were pretty eager to get out of Cabo.
Yeah, we were. But secondly, because we did so much work on the boat and we worked right up until the day we left, we didn't get a chance to really shake down or anything. And we knew we were going to have 4 people on the boat, but we didn't really think about how that was going to tax all the systems. And it ended up taxing the head, the electricity, the water, and things like that. So that was kind of my least favorite and a lesson learned for later.
Yeah,
and then
we kind of ended up learning that we were a 3-person boat for passages.
Exactly.
But we were happy to have crew, and it was great. But it was just a
learning. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Lastly, for me, least favorite is even though we did all that work, there's always little engine things, and not being a diesel mechanic and not knowing everything, I know the basics. When something goes wrong with the engine, it kind of is panic time, and I got to go to the stuff that I know, which isn't always what breaks. So that was a little bit of not fun dealing with things. In the end, we figure it out with help sometimes, but then it feels good to figure it out, but in the moment, it's not that fun.
Especially in our first 2.5 weeks.
Exactly. Good side is I get to learn a lot of new things. Bad side is I don't know everything, and I'm not real comfortable not knowing things. I've been knowing everything I needed to know for a very long time, and now I'm in a world, in an environment where I don't know everything. But it's exciting to learn. Yeah. So that was it for me.
Yeah. So then that's a good segue into the next question is, what would we do differently? I would have really liked to have had a kind of a more substantial shakedown. You can see in a past episode that we'll link to that we got into a situation of having to do some pretty major repairs like 3 weeks before we left, which that meant that we were kind of scrambling right until the day that we dropped the mooring ball. And so like the engine issue that we had, it ended up probably being related to that fix. Since we weren't able to go shake down, we didn't discover it until we were well into
and it always happens in the middle of the night.
Yes. We couldn't have done it any differently because that's just how it worked out. But if you can plan to try to do some shakedowns and really put the boat to its paces,
exactly.
You'll be better for it, I guess I would say. Okay, so then another thing that I do differently in hindsight, if you watch our Baja Haha episodes, you'll see that we turned the corner and went up to La Paz and went to an awesome final party in La Paz for the rally. However, if I had it to do over again, I would not go to La Paz. I would leave Cabo and cross
that early
straight.
In the season.
Yeah, exactly. I would cross straight to
Mazatlan or wherever. Just
Mazatlan, Banderas Bay, because the northers coming down the sea, it's just not really great cruising in those early winter months. It's way better further south. So I'd go south first and then head back into the sea in the spring.
Okay, for me, the things I would have done differently is I would have focused a lot more on the fishing setup because I knew I wanted to fish. I love to fish, but I was focused on so many other things that was really low on the list, but I wish I would have made time for it because, it turned out okay.
You basically had some gear on board.
I did, but I didn't test any of it out, but I would have focused more on the setup. And then the next thing that it completely surprised us and that we would do differently is who knew you could not find Triscuits in Mexico? And we take so many things for granted in the U.S., but we love Triscuits. There's a lot of happy hours, a lot of cheese and cracker nights, and Triscuits are the best. And we just could not find Triscuits, so we brought a lot, but we didn't bring enough. And if we had to do it again, and we will do it next season, we will be taking a lot of Triscuits with us. And wine. We love to drink wine at these happy hours and with dinner and cooking. And wine is not great in Mexico.
You can find some, but they're expensive.
But it's very expensive for regular wine that we could get fairly cheaply in the U.S. So we would have
filled the bilge.
Yeah, we would have loaded up on wine and Triscuits.
Yep. So the last question is, what do we think we did well, or what would be worth repeating if we did it again? One is, prior to the leaving from San Diego, the whole week before, Downwind Sailing hosts a bunch of events. They're like $10 a person or something. And it's not an actual rally event, but they always hold it the week before because there are a lot of rally boats in town.
And a lot of useful information.
Yeah. We went to 3 or 4 of them, and they were all super useful. And we met other people going on the Baja, and it kind of also helped build the anticipation, because we were starting to get excited and we were still putting finishing touches, but it really helped us kind of get into like rally mode. And so I loved those events.
They were good.
The other thing that I thought went really well is that on our first leg, it's a 3-night leg leaving San Diego to Turtle Bay. And so we opted to go pretty far offshore, partly because of the wind, but I'm glad that we did, because many of the boats stayed a little bit closer inshore. So there weren't as many of us out there, which made it just less busy and less crowded, less crossing situations with other boats in the middle of the night.
I think they treat it sort of like a race. You all start, like there's a start line, and some people took the racing a little seriously, and a lot of them just motored straight, so they never went that far offshore and just motored straight down there. We just like to sail, so we wanted to get offshore away from the fleet and sail. We didn't care if we came in last, so that was ended up being a very good decision.
So what do you think went well?
Number one, your idea of cooking a lot of meals ahead. I love to cook, and I do most all of the cooking on the boat, but I do not like to cook underway. I cook a bunch of things ahead, and we freeze it. You have that vacuum packing thing, and we just portion it all out, and Gretchen heats it up while we're underway. So that I think was a very good idea. And despite the minor engine issue we had, we really had that boat dialed in. Everything that we did, we didn't regret spending any of the money on any of the things we did. Left to my own resources, I'd have sat in San Diego and fixed that boat up until it was absolutely pristine before we leave.
Not a thing.
No. So luckily we had the rally that we had to leave on a certain day, and we had to shut down, but we did have the boat dialed in. We only had minor issues. Okay, and lastly, we ended up hiring an agent that was offered to us through the rally.
Yeah, I think we got a discount with the agent.
And we did not regret spending that money either, because they were very organized with all the paperwork, and we had an extra snag in ours that we had to cancel a tip from the previous owner unbeknownst to us, which was a major hassle to figure out on your own. But the agent walked us through
navigate the whole thing.
And they made it pretty as simple as it could be.
Yeah, and I'll put a link down in the description to the agent that we worked with.
So all in all, I didn't think we were rally people. We've done a bunch of training passages. We've sailed together a lot, and we can handle it. We have handled it. But the rally was fun.
I'll put a link to a blog post that we wrote about whether to rally or not to rally, with a lot of different reflections, and you can see more about that. But I think at the end of the day, we're glad that we did it. It wasn't absolutely necessary, but we got a lot out of it. So if you're going on the Baja or going on a rally, have a great time. It was great. See you in the Sea of Cortez.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe so you catch all the episodes of our first season cruising in Mexico. And head over to Instagram for real-time updates. Check out our tracker and more details about our cruising life at gntsailing.com. We'll catch you next time.
Mexico is Sexico!